Good evening, everyone. This is Vanita Dillon from Cal Maritime. I'm the Title IX coordinator here and so delighted to have all of you joining us today. I see some of the names are parents who are coming back, and I hope that we'll have some new parents joining us today as well. So my role as Title IX coordinator is not the only thing I do. I liaise with all the parents and have a couple other things I dabble in on campus. Today, we are going to be talking about cadet well-being and health and safety, and we have 4 different experts from campus joining us. And before I invite them to the floor, I have a couple of items, housekeeping items. As you saw earlier, or you can still see, the schedule we have for the forthcoming weeks. We have only 1 week left, so that you know what topics will be covered. And we ask that everybody stay muted throughout the presentation that our experts are going to make. At the end of the presentations, please put your questions for them in chat, and I will field those questions for you. If any one of you is in a car or unable to send us a written typed up chat message, we'll leave the last few minutes open for you to speak up. But until then, stay muted. If your question has details about a student or something else, we ask that you not put that in chat. We will be uploading this information on the web and don't want any private details of any cadet. And I think if there are questions unrelated to today's topic, we can save that for the very end. If we have time, we'll address them. If we don't get the chance, I invite you to write those questions to us at orientation@csum.edu. I will put my contact information and that email address in chat shortly. With that, it is my distinct pleasure to start it off with our CAPS counselor, Andrea, and she's going to share her presentation and give everyone a chance to introduce themselves. So once again, welcome parents and welcome colleagues, and take it away.
Thank you, Vanita. I'm sorry I arrived a little bit late. I had some internet challenges getting in, and it sounds like we already made the introductions, correct?
We have not.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to popcorn it around. My name is Andrea Schneider. I'm the lead counselor over at Counseling and Psychological Services, which is embedded in our Student Health Center. And I'm honored to be here today to tell you a little bit about our counseling services. As well, I have my supervisor, our medical director, Dr. Grace Chow, who is here, and I would like to popcorn it to her. She's our medical director for the Student Health Center.
Hi, everyone. I'm Grace Chow. I'm the Director of Student Health Services, and we are involved with providing direct health care to cadets to help them and support them in whatever way we can to be successful. I guess I will popcorn to Anjali, who's one of our valued team members.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Acosta. I am the health educator here. I help provide health resources and programming for our campus. One of those programs is the Peer Health Educator program. One of my peers, Jang, is here, so I'm going to popcorn it to him.
Hello, my name is Jang, and I was a previous resiliency peer that helped found the Resiliency Project last year. And the goal of the Resiliency Project from last year was to promote physical health and mental well-being through times of difficulty during quarantine, and encouraging just mental and physical health all together. And I plan on graduating in spring of 2022 as a licensed ME and minoring in business. So I'm glad to be here.
And thank you, Andre, for being here. And I will popcorn it off to Craig Dawson.
Hi, thanks, Vanita. I'm Craig Dawson. I'm responsible for environmental health and safety for the campus, primarily oversee employee and faculty safety, but of course that spills into cadet and some of the cadet life aspects as well. And so, of course, one of our busiest areas in the last 18 months or so has been on our COVID program, which we've been able to be quite successful with the last semester and a half that we've had students on campus.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. And especially, I want to apologize to Andre for saying we have 4 people on the panel, but we do have 5. With that, I'm going to share set of slides that Health Center has prepared. So give me a second. And our Health Center folks, take it away.
All right, well, welcome. Again, my name is Andrea Schneider. I'm with Counseling and Psychological Services, and Grace Chow is our wonderful medical director. And, we're honored to be here today to share a little bit about what we offer for our cadets on campus. So do you mind advancing the slides, Vanita? Thank you. Do you want to get started, Dr. Chow?
Sure, yeah. So we are easily accessed by phone. Sometimes students choose to email us, or a lot of times they just stop by since we are in close proximity to the marketplace, which is the dining center, and their dorms. So there are several ways for them to get a hold of us, and we do have a number for after hours questions if that comes up. So there is a advice nurse available.
We also have, like Dr. Chow mentioned, the after hours option. That also goes for mental health concerns as well. Not only, physical ailments or what have you. You can be directly connected with a nurse practitioner after hours, or if there is a mental health concern that's urgent, then that number plus option 1, which we'll have all over the place, would connect somebody to an after hours urgent line. So it looks like we have the next slide here. And we are an integrated care team. So, our counseling office is embedded into the Student Health Center, but the counseling services are absolutely confidential, as are student health services. And we do coordinate care often and cross-refer amongst our medical teams. And we always get consent from the student to coordinate care and to support them in a confidential way. That's where we're located. Kind of hard to tell on a PowerPoint, but we are, like Dr. Chow said, we are right near the marketplace, kind of tucked away in a brick building. It's a very small campus, so students do find out where everybody's located in time, and we're right near Morrow Cove, and right near the marketplace.
So we're open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. We usually close at 1 to 2 because we try to accommodate students during their lunch hours, which are often 12 to 1. And we're closed for a weekly staff meeting on Tuesdays. As far as counseling services, there are appointments that can be made daily, and there are some limited walk-in hours available from 2 to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. We do try to pre-book appointments generally, but usually we do have same-day appointments, and certainly if something is urgent, students will be seen. So most services are available at no additional cost, and that includes most of the prescription medications that we stock and over-the-counter medications. Your health insurance is not billed for the Student Health Center services. They're covered by the health services fee. Just to make clear, we provide completely confidential care in accordance with FERPA and HIPAA. and all other applicable state and federal laws. So we would not release student information without their written consent. That is, so even as parents, unless your student is a minor under 18, we cannot release information to you unless they have signed a written authorization. So we follow the rules.
And we pride ourselves on being student advocates. So we are very much embracing of and celebrating of diversity and inclusivity. And we want to truly emphasize that. Next slide, please.
So we provide a lot of primary care services. So we have one nurse practitioner and one physician, and that's myself. Wonderful counseling, a lot of common medications, be it prescription or over the counter, orthopedic supplies for various injuries. We do health promotion with our wonderful health educator and peer health educators. We do physical exams, sports physicals, exams for the US Coast Guard. And we do have capability to do some basic lab, and we have access to radiology that's offsite. We also offer the flu vaccine annually. And this past spring, we were very happy to be able to bring COVID vaccine to campus and had over 750 people on campus vaccinated. So that was our greatest accomplishment this past year. So primary care services, I went over a little bit of that, but just kind of the basic things you would expect from a primary care office.
Okay, and as we have medical services, like we mentioned, we have counseling and psychological services, and the services we offer are typically individual, couple, and group counseling. Oftentimes students really prefer the one-on-one counseling, but we do offer workshops and groups for them as well in a confidential setting. We are open the same hours as the Student Health Center. We have one office that's embedded in the Student Health Center, and then another office that's embedded up in the upper residence hall. And as Dr. Chow had mentioned, we do have a daily walk-in or drop-in hour. And during COVID, that was virtual. We're working towards more in-person services for fully vaccinated folks with a mask. And we will continue to offer some telehealth services as well for those that prefer it. But we're looking forward to seeing cadets on campus, and we believe that a lot of the healing in the midst of a pandemic is also safe community with being in person, but also doing so safely. So that being said, again, everything is confidential and in compliance with federal and state laws. And we're looking forward to having the cadets back. Next slide, please. So a lot of the concerns that students have when they show up for counseling, they can range from a lot of different factors, but oftentimes one of the most common is anxiety, stress, depression. Some might have some academic performance concerns, test-taking anxiety. Some might have relationship concerns. We do refer to our career advisors for career counseling. Sometimes cadets might have some worries about relationships with friends or family, grief or loss, an abuse or trauma history. And certainly coming out of the pandemic and sort of hopefully on the tail end of it with this Delta variant going on, a lot of folks have had a lot of stressors as relates to the pandemic, also racial injustices, political unrest, et cetera. It's been a really tough year and a half for most people who are young adults and teenagers. So at CAPS, we're very prepared to receive the students that would like to have confidential support. And we want to reinforce that there is no stigma involved with coming in to get counseling. It's just as important as your physical health. And we really teach that to the cadets. Next slide, please. And one thing that's really important to emphasize with the students that are obtaining their Coast Guard licensure, a lot of people feel they're nervous about coming in for counseling, or if they have a mental health history and are concerned that that might preclude them from getting their Coast Guard licensure. And we want to emphasize that the USCG does not require waivers or restrict licensing for mental health concerns that are well controlled. You can take antidepressants, ADD or ADHD medications, seek counseling or other mental health care, and this will not impact licensing. This will not impact licensing. If you have any questions or concerns, you can ask us. But to have a well-controlled situation, whether depression, anxiety, you name it, if it's well-controlled and it's being treated, it shouldn't be an issue. Okay, so we want to emphasize that. Okay. Next slide, please. That might be it, actually. I think it
I
is.
think this is your last slide.
Okay, okay, that is it. Okay. Did you want us to answer questions right now, Vanita, or hold it till the end?
So I will start reading the questions that I already have in chat, and there'll be more coming up. So the first question is, if student has their own health insurance, can they use the campus health services?
They can use the health services, and their insurance in most cases will not be billed.
Before I go further, I actually want to apologize for not giving Anjali a chance to share her slides. So I think Anjali should go through her presentation. And Craig, did you have anything? Just by thumbs up, can you tell me, let me know if you have any slides?
I don't have slides. I'll just
Okay.
speak to it when you're ready for me.
Okay, sounds good. So Anjali, are you ready?
Can you share, do I have share screen?
Yes, you
permission?
do.
Okay, let's see. My alcohol share. Okay, and then slideshow, play from start. All righty then. Hi. Alrighty then. Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Costa. I am the health educator here on campus. I'm here to talk about how to start a conversation about alcohol with your student. After a year of being under lockdown during COVID, students may have a sense of freedom from going to college. And it's important to have a conversation about alcohol to keep them safe during their time at Cal Maritime. So how do we do that? I think that it's important to know our campus policy. Underage drinking under 21 is illegal. Cal Maritime has a no alcohol policy. In some instances, we do offer alcohol, some activities, but it's in a very controlled, safe environment. So here is a copy of the policy. The Academy is required to comply with the U.S. Coast Guard regulations regarding the consumption of alcohol and the operation of maritime vessels. These regulations apply to all crew members, including licensed officers, pilots, faculty, staff, cadets, and any watch standards. We have something called amnesty. So a student who is, gets drunk, as long as they call help for that shipmate, they will not normally be documented for alcohol violation, as long as they're assisting with the care of a shipmate and are cooperative and forthcoming. So, and then housing does regular room checks. They check for alcohol in the rooms, bottles. They check for posters and any other alcohol paraphernalia. So that is our alcohol policies. Second, it's important to know the signs of alcohol poisoning. Aware, Awake, Alive is a nonprofit that was started by the Starkey family in 2011. Carson, the son, was a student at SLO, San Luis Obispo, and he attended a frat initiation where he drank massive amounts of alcohol and he tragically died from alcohol poisoning. So Aware, Awake, Alive is a resource that educates teens, young adults, and parents about the dangers and symptoms of alcohol abuse. So if you go to the website, there's actually a parent section that you can read over before your conversation. On the side here, there's some alcohol poisoning symptoms: must help, mental confusion, unresponsive, snoring, gasping for air, throwing up, hypothermia, erratic breathing, loss of consciousness, paleness, blueness of the skin. Drinking can lead to sexual assault. I'm wondering if Vanita can back me up with this slide because she's a part of the Title IX coordinator. I did want to share an article from RAIN on alcohol safety. These are a couple tips to keep to mention to your student about keeping safe. So keeping an eye on your friends, having a backup plan, knowing what you are drinking, trusting your instincts, never leaving a drink unintended, and never accept drinks from people you don't know and trust. And just having the student check in with themselves, knowing your limit and being aware how your body is when you're drinking. Okay, now starting the conversation. If your son and daughter, if you think they don't listen, the results of the college health survey shows that parents are the #1 source that students turn to for important information. So even though they don't drink, in 4 to 5 years, they're going to know someone on campus that does. So when you do have a conversation, these are a couple tips to have shown to make a difference in how they respond. So one, choosing a good time, avoiding distractions. We want to make sure that we have your full attention. Verbalizing respect. People want to be respected and will be more responsive if they show that they are respected. And then be prepared to listen and to avoid lectures. I know that this is a different time and culture than when we were younger. So just being able to ask questions to understand. And then this is not a one and done conversation. This should be a regular conversation within the 4 to 5 years, depending on their major about alcohol. So my last slide, know your resources. If you suspect alcohol abuse or would like to know more about alcohol education resources, you can call our Student Health Center at 707-654-1170, or you can email me with my email address listed there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Anjali. Parents, just so you know that even though we're very happy to share our contact information with all of you, as Dr. Chow mentioned, our ability to discuss specifics about your student, your cadet, is going to be very difficult. We don't have the authority to talk about your student with you because they're adults. So yes, do contact us and we can give you general information. We can try and connect you with your cadet. But we can't talk about your student, what we know or how things may be going. So just keep that in mind. With that, I invite Craig to share what he has, and then we'll go to the questions.
Hi, thank you, Vanita. I was just taking a quick peek at the questions, so maybe I can tackle a couple of those along the way. The main piece that I do want to speak to is the COVID prevention program that we do have for the campus. And as I'm sure most, if not all of the parents have seen, the California State University system has moved to mandatory vaccination for cadets in our case, students in most cases, and staff and faculty. And so that really for us goes a long ways to make our environment a lot safer and a lot less disruptive from the in-person training in classes that we will have. And so the way that we're structured right now is that I believe August 16th, and I think Dr. Chow will speak to a couple of these dates, but August 16th was the day to submit for any type of an exemption, either religious or medical exemption for getting vaccinated. And then August 31st is the mandatory day to submit your information verifying that you're either fully vaccinated or you're in the process of receiving your vaccinations. You could have received your first vaccine and are scheduled for the next or final one. And those that will be coming to campus that are unvaccinated or not fully vaccinated at the time that they're going to arrive on campus are required to provide a negative COVID test within 72 hours of arriving on campus. And currently, the classes, all of the classes are, as most people also know, the distancing and space requirements have gone away, which allows us to go to more of our normal occupancy in the classrooms. And we have done a lot of evaluation of the classes for two reasons. One, for air quality, because, unfortunately, these last few years, we can pretty much count on that we're going to be impacted by smoke at some point or another from fires in the region. As well as for as enhanced ventilation as possible with regard to COVID and keeping good air exchange and air turnover in the spaces. And so we're doing a lot of work in that area and ensuring that we do have good circulation, good filtration happening in all of the classroom spaces. Additionally, when it comes to masking, today, and it will very likely change again. As everybody knows, the whole pandemic is very fluid and very dynamic. But at this point today, the official campus position is that masking is required for anybody that is unvaccinated, and vaccinated people that have provided proof of vaccination have the option to not wear a mask indoors, although it is still recommended that they do. And again, those requirements may be changing, and I will put in the chat the COVID alert webpage, which I always recommend people to take a look at. The health center has put a great deal of frequently asked questions and great information that links from that page. And also brings you to the Student Health Center page itself. And then our page has a lot of different information on it. And so if you actually look at the home page, there's a yellow link there that says COVID updates that will bring you there. And if you are so interested, there's also PDF slides for the online training that is required for all of our campus community, whether it's staff, faculty, the president of our campus, or any of the cadets. All are required to go through the training that you can review the slides on that help to educate people about masking, about sanitizing of classrooms, and all the other measures that can be taken, including daily health checks and monitoring yourself for symptoms, so that people stay aware and can take action quickly if they're not feeling well. So I'm sure I've missed something, but that's the main soundbite. I did remember seeing the question about testing. We will be doing testing again this semester, and there's still some review happening by our campus leadership, but it will most likely be weekly testing of unvaccinated people, all unvaccinated people, and then they're still evaluating if there will be any vaccinated testing happening. But you know, from the medical side, there's a lot of desire not to, just because it can create some confusion and some problems, but we'll see where the campus lands on that. And that's the main information I wanted to share.
Thank you, Craig. So we talked about healthcare and mental health care and staying on top of alcohol and sexual assault type of issues. Then last but not least, we have self-care, how to have a resilient, successful time at school. I'd like to invite Andre to share what he's bringing to us today. And there it is.
Hello, I'm Andre again. So last school semester, I have to click it. There we go. Last school semester, some major projects I took part in were moderating a discussion with those in the professional maritime industry about mental health and well-being, specifically in their professional jobs. And I also ran a marathon to advocate for cancer awareness. So this upcoming semester, I plan to be a peer health educator. Students can find me on campus leading and helping out with student health services and events. So moving forward, I would like to introduce to you 2 tools that can be extremely beneficial to help guide students who are just starting, as well as those returning on campus. First tool is called You. So here's a 1-minute overview of a video of you at college.
In college, your journey and decisions will shape the person you become. From your very first day to graduation, you play an active role in designing your ultimate college experience and the future that comes with it. A college journey well lived comes with natural ups and downs along the way. That's why we created You, a comprehensive digital platform to help navigate life on campus. The You platform is customized just for you, with a wealth of content and campus resources for academics, finances, relationships, health, and whatever else comes your way. Connect on your laptop, tablet, or phone for confidential support, available to you 24/7, 365. Whether you want to find your dream career, manage stress, get a better night's sleep, meet new people, or get help with a difficult situation, just turn to You.
So with that video, students can start to create an account at u.csum.edu. So common questions that arise is You is completely confidential. You is also free, so no hidden charges or fees or ads, purchases, it's free. And another question is select campus administration can see aggregate trends of behavior and use of the site, but they can never see one's users' behavior or the small groups of users that what they do. So the next tool is Nod, which is another program purchased by CAPS using the Mental Health Partnership Grant for students. So what is it? It's not a social media tool, it's an app that equips college students with science-backed skills to build meaningful social connections. So here's, this is a little bit longer, but it's a 3-minute overview.
Say hello to Nod, an app designed to empower students to build social connections in college. Think of Nod as a friendly tool designed to help students build the skills they need to navigate the transition from high school to college and create the social life they desire. Nod's content is grounded in behavioral science and the research of loneliness and social connection. Nod is also shaped by input from over 100 students who have firsthand experience. Let's take a tour. Onboarding lays out how Nod works, but it also does a couple of important jobs. First, using subtle language choice, Nod works to destroy what we call the myth of magical friendship, making clear that social connections actually take time and effort. Second, students complete a value ranking exercise, which customizes what content they're given first. We know from research that people are more motivated to pursue goals that they value. Now we're in the home dashboard. You may notice Nod's clever illustrations. These quirky animals and objects capture the relatable awkwardness that comes with socializing in a new setting. Let's get to the two key components of Nod: challenges and reflections. Challenges are mini missions that encourage students to skillfully socialize out in the real world. Challenges are not random. They're based on the science of social connection and co-developed with students to be relatable and actionable. They're like workout exercises, but for your social life. Opening a challenge allows a student to read the challenge details, see how it aligns to their own priorities, and read a testimonial from another student, all aimed to help the student move from considering to acting, destroying the myth of magical friendship. Once a student accepts the challenge, they can customize their own deadlines and reminders to complete it. What does the research tell us? That making goals that are time-bound increases people's ability to stay on track. The second key component is reflections. Reflections are short in-app exercises that help students process social interactions. Reflections aim to reduce self-criticism and build resilience so they can move towards their goals. It's like the post-workout stretch, but for your mind, building flexibility and thinking. Students first check in using a mood meter, so Nod can guide them to a reflection exercise that best suits how they're feeling. Positive ratings would bring a student to a reflection option like savoring the moment or gratitude, whereas a rating on the opposite side of the spectrum might offer an exercise in reframing, seeing the challenge in a different light, or using self-compassion to process their response. Finally, students can track their challenges and reflections in My Journey, revisiting their progress. Supporting students in creating a healthy social life is no small task. Nod is here to help.
Alrighty. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. I am going to attempt to read questions from chat. I hope you're adding them in. For some reason, my chat bar is sticking and I'm having difficulty maneuvering in there. So give me either a second or I could.
Do you want me to read them off, Anita?
Yeah, that would be amazing. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, no problem. I'll start at the top. So a question came up: if we have personal insurance and we have waived the campus insurance, can our son still use the campus medical services? Will our insurance be billed in that case?
I think I already answered that one, but
answer
I'll answer it again.
Okay.
So they can use health services, and in the vast majority of cases, your insurance will not be charged.
And then the next question is, what will be the masking rules? And I believe Craig went over that, correct? For in-person counseling, we will require a mask because it's definitely a closer enclosed setting for a longer period of time. So it's also going to depend on where you're located on campus too. But deferring to Craig on that, is there anything you want to elaborate on that, Craig?
No, that's accurate, Andrea. And for just like when we go to our doctors, it's the same type of rule as far as any medical setting. You'll still be required to wear masks.
Thank you.
And again, this is fluid, as Craig mentioned, not just in health services and those meetings, but in the classroom as well as outdoors, any other areas where students are going to congregate. Are we as of today doing masks, and that's kind of where we're headed? Craig?
Yeah, the evaluation right now, and in fact, professors and departments have the option to require masks in their specific classes or areas. And yes, the campus is in the process. Once again, we've done this several times of evaluating and potentially moving to universal masking indoors. But if any of those changes continue to happen, it will be widely broadcast to all of the cadets in the campus community.
Thank you. Have kind of an unrelated question about parking, but I'll go ahead and answer it because I know the answer. Incoming freshmen should not be bringing cars. We encourage that they focus on being on campus and not have the distraction of a car to leave. However, parking anywhere on a campus parking lot is going to require a pass. If they bring a car as a freshman, they might not even get a parking pass, which means that they would have to park on an adjacent street where parking is free on first come, first served basis. Or they will have the option of buying a day pass like any other guest on campus would. So parking in O lot is not free, and a lot of the times that lot is not even open and available for use. Next question. Thank you, Andrea, for helping earlier. I think my system's working. Does the cadet orientation include any of the alcohol awareness information? Anjali, you want to take a stab at that?
Yes, we will have alcohol education during our orientation. Benita and I are going to be presenting. So yay.
Yeah. So thank you. On move-in day, are parents allowed to help their cadets set up in their rooms? We'll have some guidance for you on that when you arrive. The way things are today, and as we've mentioned, things are constantly changing. When you bring your student to the res hall, you'll be dropping them off there, and they will take their belongings into the room with the help of some cadet leaders and helpers, staff. And the parents will not go in at that time. But during your day on the 31st of August, you'll have some open times and opportunities to connect with their student, go into the room and spend some time there. And that information is going to be made available to you even on your schedule. Students can access NOD for free. That's Anjali's note. Where do we send 504 paperwork for academic accommodations? So that goes to our disability services office, and we had her on the call last week. But if you look up disability services on our website, it'll pop up and has Siobhan Case is her name. Her information is available on our website, and I can even add it in. Oh, Anjali, thank you. And you can reach out to scase@csum.edu. I'll go ahead and put that in her email in the chat. Do cadets need to take COVID tests before entering the campus? If yes, how many hours before?
That's only true if they have not been vaccinated for COVID, or if they have not completed their vaccinations for COVID. Then we require a negative COVID test 72 hours before arriving on campus.
Thank you, Dr. Chow. Should we plan to supply our cadet with masks they will need for the next few months, or will CSUM be providing masks?
We do have some masks, but they should bring their own.
So environmentally speaking, and from a perspective of comfort, Those fabric ones are much better than the blue ones that we might have strategically placed across campus, but we highly recommend that you and your cadet find some good, comfortable cotton masks that you can bring with you to reduce just those throwaway types from creating a lot of trash from those. So anything you can do to prevent that, that'd be amazing. I see bicycles are allowed on the packing list. Where can you ride to? Do bike paths connect the campus to other areas? Yes, we invite your student to bring a bicycle. There aren't very many places immediately connected outside the campus for any recreational biking, but they could bike along the street to try and get somewhere. There aren't very many grocery stores or restaurants that they could bike to. They'd have to do some research on what their choices are and where they can go. I have heard that students go biking on Mare Island. How they get their bikes there is not known to me, but that's an area where they go for recreational biking. Sorry, you may have answered this, but I missed it. What is the setup for after hours or weekend health service needs? What if the student gets sick on a weekend or late at night?
So we have a answering service, a nurse advice line. So they will take the call and direct students whether they feel it's appropriate to give advice or to escalate it to the level of urgent care or a hospital or emergency department nearby. And
Thank
that's
you.
true for both medical issues and psychological issues. We have those services available to help students after hours.
And I just typed the number in the chat. It's our student health service number plus option 1, and that's for after 5, Monday through Friday, and on weekends.
Thank you, Andrea, and also for reminding all of us that the bridge has a bike area. You could walk or bike across the Carquinez Bridge. Shipping is going to be interesting. Can you connect with me outside this call? Typically how mailboxes work and shipping can be handled is students come in, they settle into their room in about a week. If that's the room they're going to stay in, no changes are necessary. Res Life folks will allocate a mailbox and number to them, and they can share that with their family and let Amazon packages begin. But until then, the students have no place, or the parents' family doesn't have a spot to send stuff to. But Stacy, if you are if you want to touch base with me about something in particular, I'm happy to kind of discuss that. If our own insurance is not billed, do you bill the parent and we submit to our insurance company?
We don't do that. The vast majority of the time, we don't bill for services. We just provide them.
Alyssa, you're very welcome. These sessions are for mom questions and to put parents at ease. I think all of us, except from Andre, we're all parents and truly understand that this is a transition that we want to make comfortable for you. Will cadets receive their own bottled water supply or water dispenser in their dorm rooms? So they will be supplied with a water bottle in their welcome bag, but there's no specific water supply in each room of the residence halls. There are filling stations that they need to be mindful of. There will be a fridge and microwave in their room where they can store some stuff. Again, you heard me talk about environmentally speaking about the masks. Similarly, plastic bottles it's best not to rely on them, but they will have a drinking bottle that we provide that they can fill in and out of their rooms. That was the last question I saw from Riza. Okay, there's more popping up. So I was like, maybe my bar has stopped working again. Are there bottle refill stations around campus? Yes, there are. Yes, absolutely. And they could, fill their water when they leave their the marketplace, their dining facility, and prepare for the evening as well. Yes. So while we're looking for some questions, I just want to reiterate and really thank Angeli for bringing up alcohol consumption and related issues that arise when when we overconsume. I just want to remind parents, it's not a reminder, more a request, that have those conversations with your students, because it's been a very isolating, difficult year, and it's going to be freedom after 1 year of no school, no going out, and they'll find new friends, and the behaviors that are risky can potentially get out of hand. So if they know to be mindful of their own limitations, mindful of their boundaries, it's going to be a healthier, more successful year. So please do have that conversation with your student. The meal plan has changed. Could you explain how it works? I cannot. This is one of those questions. Next week we have nutrition on our as one of our topics, and folks from Sodexo and the dining facility will be there, and they will be better equipped to answering that question. So hang in there with that one. How often can my cadet come home if they live 15 minutes away from the campus? Quinn, that's a very loaded question. I think you need to talk to your cadet and just be mindful that our students have a very rigorous schedule, and they have not just a lot of classes, because we try to get them to finish in 4 years, but they also have extracurricular commitments, and expecting them to come home all the time may take away from their experience on campus. So it's not for us to tell you the answer to that question. You really need to speak with your student and be mindful that they have a lot going on. With COVID going around, how does meal plan work? Again, thank you for that question, but please hold it until next time. If there is some safety concern there that Craig could answer, Craig, do you need to kind of step in here a little bit?
Not too much, and our dining folks are very versed on this, but there's no specific pieces other than the normal food safety aspects, as far as there's servers when it's a buffet style food that are gloved and masked, and most of the other meals are sealed in that. And I'm not sure if you want me to roll right into the second question that I'm
Go right ahead.
So how is the air filtration systems in the dorms? So most of our dorms have operable windows and are much like our homes are as far as ventilation goes. They have heating and no air conditioning. And in the two facilities that do have interior corridors, being Upper Residence Hall and McAllister Hall, we are actually planning on staging some air scrubbers in those hallways this year, almost more so for preemptively being prepared for air quality issues, but certainly will also provide a benefit for additional circulation and filtering of air related to COVID.
Thank you, Craig. Stacy, I see your note. Again, let's connect outside and we'll find a way to make sure that your cadet is taken care of. Within the res hall rooms, we call them res halls, are all beds on risers, or do we need to bring our own? So if I'm not mistaken, they are in upper res hall, the beds can be lofted up and they can work with the staff in the residence halls to have that happen. They also have access to residence hall officers. We call them RHOs as opposed to RAs, who are going to check in with the students and will be able to help them loft their beds a little bit higher so they have some storage under it. We would not recommend you bringing your own risers, but if that's a specific question that you want answered, please email housing@csum.edu. With COVID in mind, how will that impact our cadets' freedom to leave campus for a few hours? Is travel off campus limited?
At this point, there aren't any restrictions for travel, other than, masks required in airports, and normally in all of the public transportation, masking and those types of standard requirements are still in place. There will be some restrictions on off-campus people being able to come to the dorms themselves, but not going the other way, including as we approach the holidays. At this point, of course, I will always put that caveat in there since it's such a dynamic world right now.
Just to put your mind at rest, any of these kinds of expectations or changes in how we're handling things, the protocol as we might call it, are all being constantly communicated by Craig to our students, and he sends out a safety newsletter and he provides all sorts of links constantly. So just rest assured that we are in communication with your cadet all the time. And like Anjali had mentioned, it might come as a surprise to you, but your cadets listen to you and they pay attention. So when you remind them to open their email and be advocates for themselves, they will do that. So if your messaging and our messaging is similar, they hear it from both sides and they'll follow through. So just rest assured that we're constantly keeping them abreast of these changes.
And to that effort, on the alert webpage that I did provide earlier, we do keep a chronology of all of the COVID related communications that do come out, whether they're from the president or from our task force. And so anytime anybody wants to go in and look at those, the newest are at the top, and we keep them all available to everyone to review.
Thank you. Susan wants to know, who do we contact to find out if a prescription is available at SHC, or do we have our provider fax over a prescription? I'm not sure I understand the question, but I'll let the folks from SHC answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we don't just fill prescriptions, so we would see your student and evaluate them and determine if we think it's appropriate, and if we carry the medication and are able to give it to them. But we're not just a pharmacy.
Thank you. Will cadets be able to leave campus for home during holidays such as New Year? Yes, so they'll have their normal winter break. And they will also have Thanksgiving break before then. The academic calendar is available on our webpage, so please do check that out if you're pre-planners and want to get tickets ahead of time and such. If you have any questions about when students can get out, you can always email me directly and I can help facilitate any of that. Are there places to go in the immediate area? Restaurants, for example, with a short distance, any place to avoid. There are not too many restaurants in the immediate area. We want our cadets to be aware of where they are and who they're with. They go out in groups. Not all pockets of Vallejo are safe, but there is plenty for them to explore and do in Vallejo, just like any other town or city. There's good and bad. They need to seek out and ask questions when they don't know. They will be able to find food about 6 or 7 miles away, but nothing they can walk to. Dead fish. Okay, Grace is telling us a few things. Where is the calendar on the website? If you go to csum.edu in the search, just put academic calendar, it'll pop up. We're right at 6:30. We did address a lot of other questions outside of health. But if there's any parent right now who was unable to put their question in chat and would like to unmute to ask their question, we don't want to forget about you. So please speak up. All right. With that, it's 6:30 and we'd like to respect everybody's time and end on time. I see one last question that I can handle right now is recorded Zoom calls are being put on the orientation page. So if you Google orientation, or not Google, search for orientation on our csum.edu website, you'll find the recordings. If you have any issues finding them, please orientation@csum.edu, email me and we'll take care of it. I see a lot of accolades. I invite everybody to unmute themselves and give our experts, especially Andre, who's our student, a warm round of applause. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I really appreciate the parents chiming in and all our colleagues chiming in to take care of these questions. So thank you and have a great evening. Bye.